Hey guys, what's up? I'm Erin and welcome back to the channel. If you're earning $150,000 a year, maybe $250,000 a year, maybe $500,000 a year or more, you're in rare company. And I have a question for you. Do you feel wealthy? Because a high income doesn't necessarily correlate with a high net worth. And if you're not intentional with your dollars, that money can disappear just as quickly as it comes in. In this video, let's break down the smart money benchmarks that high income earners can actually use, the savings targets, spending ratios, and financial milestones that separate the high income from the truly wealthy. Think of this as your financial playbook if you feel like you've outgrown the one-size-fits-all approach that's aimed at middle-income earners. Let's start by defining what we mean by high earner. It's a phrase that gets tossed around a lot, but context matters. Your location, your lifestyle, even your stage of life matter in determining how far this income actually goes. And before we talk about these numbers, let's say it right here at the top. These are all household figures. Here's a general breakdown, $150,000 to $250,000. This would be considered generally upper middle class, roughly the top 15 to 20% of US earners. $250,000 to $500,000, this might be what we would call Henry, a high earner, not rich yet. Think of dual income professionals, lawyers, tech leaders, consultants, maybe small business owners. A household making $500,000 a year or more. This puts you in the top 1 to 2% of households. This is where you're in very high earner territory. Then we graduate to $1 million a year or more, or comparatively, say $30 million in assets. This is ultra high net worth, and it's a different league entirely. For context, in 2025, to be in the top 10% of income earners for those married and filing jointly, you would need an income of about $200,000. To move to the top 5%, you'd need a household income of about $300,000. And to be in the top 1%, that income would have to be closer to $600,000. For context for this video, when I refer to a high income earner, if we're looking at an individual, I'm talking individuals making at least $150,000 a year or more. If we're looking at a married couple, maybe $250,000 a year or more. This is the group that often feels like they should be thriving financially, but often they still find themselves stretched. And that's because income alone doesn't tell the whole story. You can make a lot of money and still feel broke. Let's bring some lifestyle into this, because location can change everything. At $250,000 a year in Missouri, that might stretch pretty far, but $250,000 in, say, Manhattan or San Francisco, you might feel like you're just hitting the basics. And that's why income itself doesn't tell the whole story. We have to look at lifestyle factors to see whether maybe you're considering yourself a high income earner. Here are a few common ones. You're maxing out your 401k easily. You're phased out of direct Roth IRA contributions. You're hitting the SALT deduction cap. You're paying alternative minimum tax or net investment income tax. You're fighting lifestyle creep, constantly upgrading as your income grows. And sometimes you catch yourself thinking, I make this much, why don't I feel further ahead? If that sounds familiar, you're in the right place. And this video is really about taking control of your income and making it work for you. So let's talk about what to actually do with your high income, because this is where a lot of people get stuck. They're earning great money, but they don't have targets. How much is enough to save? How much is enough to spend? That's where these 7 smart money ratios can come into play. They're not rigid rules, but think of them as guardrails that can really help you build wealth over time. Let's start with a big one. Number 1, your savings rate. If you're a high earner, your savings rate matters more than your salary. This is the biggest lever you have when it comes to long-term wealth building. So what's the target? For most high earners, saving 30% of your gross income is the sweet spot. You can go higher, 40%, 50%, some people do. But if you're constantly hitting 30%, you're in a really strong position. Here's how that might break down. 15 to 20% to retirement accounts, your 401k, IRA, or HSA, 10 to 15% to a taxable brokerage. This is your flexible investing money. And 5 to 10% to short-term savings. Think an emergency fund, a home down payment, or just future plans. The higher your income, the more important it is that you save a portion of this gap. And this is a trap that so many high earners fall into because every raise can so easily become a nicer car or a nicer vacation or simply more Amazon boxes. But if you're constantly upgrading your lifestyle and spending more without saving more, you're not working your way towards financial freedom, you're just upgrading your stress. Number 2, housing ratio. Let's talk housing, because for high earners and pretty much everyone else, this is your biggest expense. And this is really an area where overspending can derail everything else. So here's the benchmark. Spend no more than 2 to 2.5 times your gross income on a home. And aim to keep your monthly housing costs to 20% of your gross income. This would include your mortgage, interest, and insurance. Now, that might sound conservative because I'm sure lenders are willing to approve you for way more, but just because you can borrow more doesn't mean you should. Let's say you earn $250,000 a year. That sets your housing budget at about $4,200 a month. That's not $6,000, it's not $7,500, and it's definitely not $10,000 per month. This ratio helps to build margin, and this margin is really where wealth is built. This gives you breathing room to save and invest and, quite frankly, enjoy your life without feeling any sort of financial stress. Because at the end of the day, financial freedom doesn't come from buying the biggest house you can technically afford. Number 3, car purchase ratio. Now let's talk cars, because this is another place where high income earners can go off track really fast. Let's keep this one simple. Keep your vehicle cost under 10% of your gross income. So if you're making $250,000 a year, that puts your car budget at $25,000. And if that number surprises you, that's okay. But here's what a lot of people overlook. Cars are not assets, they are expenses. Cars lose value the moment you drive them off the lot, and then they just keep depreciating. This isn't money you get back, so if you can, pay for your vehicle in all cash. If you have to finance the minimum possible and pay it off as quickly as possible. And here's a mindset shift. Drive like a millionaire, and most of them don't have luxury car payments. Simply drive a solid and reliable vehicle and give your budget enough room to allow your money to grow elsewhere. Remember that a car is a tool, not a trophy. Number 4, tax strategy awareness. Now let's talk taxes, because if you're a high income earner, taxes aren't a once a year event, they're an all year long event, and it's more important than ever that you're proactive. Here are the key levers to focus on. Max out your tax advantaged accounts, your 401k, your HSA, and your IRA if you're eligible. Use backdoor Roth strategies or even a mega backdoor Roth through your 401k if your plan allows for it. In your taxable accounts, invest in a tax-efficient manner. Think index funds, ETFs, muni bonds, and smart asset placement. And watch out and avoid tax landmines if you can, like the alternative minimum tax, the net investment income tax, and the SALT cap, especially if you live in a high-tax state. Taxes can be a huge drag when you are a high-income earner, and it doesn't have to be complicated, but it does require planning, and your future self will thank you if you do this. Number 5, investable assets ratio. Now let's shift from income to net worth, because what you make is one thing, but what you keep and grow over time, that's something else entirely. This is where the investable assets ratio comes into play. It's a way to check if your net worth is on track based on your income and your age. And keep in mind, for high income earners, these numbers are more aggressive. Here's a general benchmark by age. By 30, 1 to 2 times your income invested. By 40, 2 to 4 times. By 50, 4 to 8 times. By 60, 8 to 12 times your income invested. And by 67, 10 to 20 times your income invested. So if you're 45 and earning $300,000 a year, your net worth target would be somewhere between $900,000 and $1.2 million or more. Now, these numbers aren't hard and fast rules. It certainly depends on when you started and what your income trajectory has been. Just because you're a high income earner today doesn't mean you've always been a high income earner. But these numbers do give you benchmarks to aim for. And they help you shift your focus from how much money is coming in to how much of my money is working for me. So use this as a guide. Number 6, insurance coverage ratio. Now let's talk about protection, because building wealth is one thing, but keeping it is just as important. And if you're a high income earner, the risks are bigger, so the protection needs to be stronger. Now I know insurance isn't exciting. Well, for me it is, because that's my day job and I truly love it. But it is one of those things that you don't know you need until it's not there in a bad moment. There are 3 types of insurance that all high income earners need to consider. Term life insurance. A good rough guide is to aim for about 10 times your income. So if you're making $250,000 a year, that would be a policy that's about $2.5 million. It's not about leaving your family a windfall, but it's about knowing that they're financially intact if the unthinkable happens. Disability insurance. This one's often overlooked, but it's critical. You want a policy that covers, say, 60 to 70% of your income should you not be able to work because of an illness or an injury. Your income is your greatest wealth building asset. Protecting it is a non-negotiable. Umbrella insurance. This is your financial safety net. Once your net worth crosses, say, $1 million or so, you want coverage that meets or exceeds that, especially if you have your own business, if you have kids, or if you have house guests. This isn't about fear, it's about being smart, because otherwise one unexpected event can wipe out years or even a lifetime of progress. Number 7, discretionary spending. Let's talk about the fun stuff. And by fun stuff, of course, I mean saving and investing, right? Wait, nope, not everyone considers that the fun stuff. Instead, they might be considering travel, dining out, spending on the latest tech gadgets, or maybe just upgrading your life a bit. When you're earning good money, the temptation to upgrade is real. And I'm not saying you shouldn't enjoy your income. Of course you should. You work hard for it. Give yourself permission to enjoy it. But here's where high income earners can go sideways. They slip into a lifestyle where they spend on things that make them look rich and ultimately ends up making them feel poor. So here's the benchmark. Try to keep discretionary spending at or below 20% of your gross income. That includes things like travel and vacations, dining and takeout, entertainment and subscriptions, luxury purchases, and lifestyle upgrades. If your household makes $300,000 a year, that gives you $60,000 a year just to enjoy life. That should be plenty if you're intentional. But here's the pattern that we see all too often. You get a raise and then you upgrade your car. You get another raise, you upgrade the house, maybe you take a nicer vacation. All of a sudden, a healthy savings rate becomes not so healthy. Wealth isn't built by constantly changing upgrades. It's about having a plan and sticking to it even when you could afford more. One of the best things about being a high-income earner, you've got options. All of these benchmarks we just talked about, they're not rigid rules. You should use them as guides or bumpers to help you stay on track. If you want to spend more on housing, that's totally fine. Just tighten up other areas of your budget. Maybe you spend less on a car, or maybe you have less discretionary spending. Not sure you want to save 30% of your income? Well, if you're making $300,000 a year and you aim for a 20% savings rate, you're still putting away $60,000 a year. That is going to take you places. That's really the beauty of a high income. You have a lot of flexibility so long as you don't stretch every single category. So yes, enjoy your flexibility, but just remember, you can outspend at any income level, even a big one. So if you do stretch intentionally and make sure you keep the big picture in focus. And let's take a moment to talk about something a lot of high earners wonder about. How long does it actually take to hit $1 million? Now, I get it. For many high-income earners, the goal isn't simply $1 million. But let's face it, this is the first huge financial milestone and a real sign of progress. And according to Ramsey Solutions, the typical millionaire reaches millionaire status at the age of 49. But if you're a high-income earner, you might be able to reach millionaire status with just 8 to 12 years of investing. Here's a quick example. Let's say you earn $250,000 a year and save 35% of your income. With a 7% rate of return, you could hit $1 million in investable assets in just 9 years. And the best part, hitting that first million is the hardest, but then compounding and momentum take over, and each subsequent milestone comes faster and faster. So yes, your income matters, but what you can save and invest, that's really what moves the needle. Being a high income earner doesn't make you wealthy, but what you do with your money certainly could. As a high income earner, you have a real opportunity, but if you're not intentional, it can slip away just as fast as it came in. So here's the takeaway. Know your numbers, track your progress, and when in doubt, come back to these benchmarks. They're here as a guide, not a restriction. So what are your thoughts? Are you a high income earner or on your way to becoming a high income earner and also on your way to becoming wealthy? Share your thoughts in a comment down below. I post new videos every single week. If you got anything at all out of this one, please give it a like. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. Or if you know of someone who might get something out of this type of content, please consider sharing. I'll see you soon. Bye. So playbook. Did you hear it? I don't even know why I can't talk when the camera's on. Not good for the line of business I'm in. $150,000. I don't think that number's right. 200, not 250. My bad. Man, a teleprompter would make things easier. I discussed it. It's not happening. I think it loses the natural flow. My editor would agree. Wouldn't you? Income earner. Did you hear that I said weather maybe? I'm not refilming it, but I'm not happy that I said it. Day job, and I love it. I don't know, like, should I? I love it, I really do. It's so much fun. You want a policy, sorry. I was thinking I was doing so well, and then we hit this, and now I'm like, we've all gone downhill.